Well, hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I'm doing a subject that I'm kind of reluctant to do, and that is talk about gun control. You know, if you're a gun guy, it don't matter where you are. You know, politics is just going to follow you around, and that's all there is to it. You know, there's just nothing you can do about it. You know, I've had people ask me, you know, many times if I would do, you know, if I would just, they wanted me to kind of speak out, you know, on what's going on with the gun control issues, and they also asked me to, you know, maybe talk about, you know, the censorship issues that we deal with as YouTubers. In this case, you know, censorship happens a lot, but in the case of YouTube, you know, it might happen, you know, more often or be more obvious. But you know, today I just wanted to talk about this video. I'm entitling "Silence the Lambs." In this video, I'm going to talk about gun control. I'm going to show you a couple of short, under a minute video clips, and you know, on recent gun control measures and how that worked out. We'll talk about lambs. We'll talk about sheep. We'll talk about sheepdogs. And we'll talk about wolves and sheep's clothing. So it's a lot to get to, and but I'm just making this just a really short video because, you know, I really just want to get a message out. People have also asked me, what can we do, you know, about censorship, for instance, on YouTube? And then they've also asked me, you know, what is it that we can do about gun control? How, you know, what kind of active role can they play? And man, these are just great questions, and I'm so excited that someone would take the time to ask those questions, because, you know, sometimes, you know, if we don't think about it, it's kind of hard to answer the questions ourselves. So I'm just sitting here sizing some bullets, and that's just going to help keep me relaxed while I'm talking to you guys about gun control. Well, first of all, society is full of lambs, all right, or sheep. And, you know, when I think of lambs, I think of, you know, that's the masses or the majority, you know, the ones to be silenced. You know, you want to silence the majority or divide the majority. And you know, they're led and directed by leaders and lawmakers, societal norms, I just dropped the bullet. Group cliques and group think, that kind of thing. They all tend to agree with each other, and fitting in is one of the highest goals that they have, to fit in. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at clip number 1, and just to help drive home this point and make it easier on me, I just some visual video clip. It's a great clip on gun control and how it works out sometimes. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
We want to share what's an ominous ominous story from Venezuela tonight. Like every other country that has adopted socialism, Venezuela has collapsed inevitably into dire poverty and chaos. Shortages there are universal. Inflation is now in the triple digits, and despite the world's largest oil reserves, that country can't even keep its lights on. Things are so bad that this very moment the country is plunging into civil disorder as thousands of demonstrators clash with security forces of the president there, Nicolas Maduro. But there's another lesson in Venezuela besides the failure of socialism. In 2012, that country banned the private purchase of firearms and ammunition and launched a massive campaign to disarm the civilian population. That wasn't accidental. You can see where this is going. Faced with the demands that he relinquish power and hold free elections there, President Maduro has decided to unleash armed supporters, their guns weren't taken away, on his disarmed populace. On Monday, Maduro announced his plans to expand the country's civil militia from 100,000 to 500,000. Every member gets a gun. The intent is clear. If he and his cronies can't stay in power forever, they will do so with the force of arms, and the masses who have no guns don't stand a chance. Remember that the next time your liberal friends extol the virtues of a gun-free society.
So that's what gun control looks like right there. Apart from having a Declaration of Independence with a Second Amendment that guarantees our right to bear arms, that's what society will look like. And it always comes down to an innocent way to protect its citizens from criminal activity or murder or killing and that kind of thing. In that case, that was the agenda of the Chavez regime before Maduro. Before Chavez died, he appointed Maduro to take over and carry out his agenda. And gun control was on the list. And that little scenario right there where they give up their guns, was sold as an innocent project to help protect the people and give them security. So what they done was they called it, instead of calling it a government buyback program, they called it Guns for Gadgets. So you give them your gun and they would give you a gadget, like a computer, or they might give you a admission into the college or something like that. It was Guns for Gadgets. And so whatever you want to call that. So anyway, now let's move on to clip number 2. We'll take a look at, I could do this forever, but I just thought I would pick a couple of clips that make sense, and then we'll continue and finish up with our sheepdogs, wolves in sheep clothing, and what you can do to be an activist and be more active to help the cause. So let's look at this last little clip, under a minute, and then I'll talk to you on the other side.
I emigrated from Venezuela, one of the most dangerous countries in the world today. A few years ago, the government came for our guns. We were told we would be safer without them. Of course, the politicians, the rich and famous, their bodyguards and criminals, they still have their guns. Everyone else lives in fear. Mothers and fathers are powerless to defend their families. But the drug cartels and gangs, the colectivos, still have all the guns they want, and 90% of murders are never solved. The biggest mistake Venezuelans made was believing that this could never happen. Today, they would do anything for the Second Amendment freedom that we enjoy as Americans. Never, ever take it for granted.
So there's a testimonial from a Venezuelan immigrant And I can tell you for sure, you know, when Chavez started all of this mess several years back, I knew quite a few people from Venezuela, and they told me the stories just like she did right there on the internet. So you guys, you know, we just got to wake up and know what's coming. That's what this is all about. They whittle away, they lie, they hide until they take your guns, and then you become slaves, and that's a fact. There was a battle where the government, our government, called about 200 people, all kind of names, terrorists, tyrants, you know, all the bad stuff they could do, just like we hear now, you know, about people that have guns, you know, they call the NRA bad names, you know, and it's not the NRA, it's the members of the NRA like me that they're talking about. So I'm usually very much offended by the things that they call the NRA, because they're not calling the organization names. They're really calling us names, you know, the people that are members of those organizations, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But you know, we're censored. Oh, the story, the 200. It was 200 people. The government was going to confiscate their weapons and take some of them into custody. And there was a battle, and 72 people died that day. And then later, several of those people that the government attacked were actually the signers of our Constitution. So just because we are called names, bad names, tyrants, terrorists, whatever, don't mean that that's what we are. Just because someone calls you a name don't mean that's what you are. Just throwing that out there for free. And you know, so we're censored, silenced, you know, by many, you know, including the Google monster and YouTube and even the media, much like they do, you know, in communist and socialist societies. You know, now you can be arrested even in those socialist countries for, you know, saying terrible things that they call terrible things. See, when the moral police come out, you know, game is changed, right? Because they are going to be the ones that determine what you do is good or bad. Doesn't matter what it is. It's what they determine it is. So we're on a bad slippery slope here, and the Second Amendment is the only thing that can save us. So we must preserve it. Alright, let's talk about the wolves. The wolves are the ones that they don't hide their intentions, right? They're the ones that are just in your face and tell you what their intentions are. And then there's the wolves in sheep's clothing. Those are the ones you gotta watch, because they just blend right in. You know, they blend in very well too. They're the ones that like to promise us security for a little slice of our liberty, right? Give away a little bit of your rights that men bled and died for a slice of security. That sounds like the same thing Abraham Lincoln said. He said that anyone who would trade their liberty for a false sense of security or for security deserve neither. And I agree with Abraham Lincoln. So then there's the sheepdog. And the sheepdog is the one that takes his Second Amendment very seriously. He can spot a wolf a mile away, whether they're in sheep's clothing or not. And, you know, just to be clear, I mean, if someone is trying to sell you anything for liberty in return, then it's easy to find those counterfeits, right? So just remember that. The sheepdog, see, we don't approach things from emotion. We're not driven. You know, our decisions are not driven by emotion. And, you know, we are active. We are trained. We are alert. And we're never content. Because it's the lambs that are being silenced. They are silenced because they are content. They don't see danger. They're content. Just doing what they're doing. And we can't ever be content. A sheepdog is always on alert. We're always looking around for the danger, right? So now, to keep this video short, I'm going to get into what we can do. How can we be active? How can we take an active approach? Because those of us who pass blame and sit back and do nothing, that kind of thing, they're the lambs. And they will be silenced. And they will become, you know, slaves in this case. So let's just talk about, I wrote a couple of things down. And so be a sheepdog, not a lamb. And so I wrote a couple of things down. You know, people ask me, these are the kind of things that people ask me, you know, what can I do? You know, what can we do about censorship on social media? And my answer to that is, in specifically, if it's YouTube, go to YouTube, find their email address, email them, and tell them contact YouTube. Contact Google or YouTube. Contact them. There's many ways to contact them. You know, just look it up and do it. And tell them what you think about the censorship that goes on. And because your voice is the most important, you're the viewer. So do that. That's how you handle that. All right. And there's obviously, you know, some stuff in the courts, and, you know, I don't know where this is all going. I don't know. You know, it seems to me like, you know, we did have some terminated accounts that's back now. So, you know, and a lot of that has to do with you guys contacting them. I know you guys were contacting them because you told me you were. So contact them for sure. And then when it comes to our Second Amendment, you got to be active. All right. You know, some of you guys are not going to like me saying this. Join the NRA. I know they're not perfect, man. God bless. I know you are, but they're not. I understand that. None of us are perfect. They are a huge group and a big voice. Please, I say, you know, a lot of people say, I'm not endorsing them. I am endorsing them. I'm not scared to tell you. And I'll take all the flack for it. Join the NRA. But for God's sake, please, by all means, join the GOA, Gun Owners of America. They are more like us than anything. But you need to join both of them. One of them is $25-$30 for the NRA a year. You can join the Gun Owners of America for $15 or $20. $20 a year. And donate while you're on their website. You know, these are important things, guys. I'm going to put a link to the NRA and to the GOA in the description. Please join them. And then the third thing that you can do, the next thing that you can do is, you know, look for Second Amendment rallies and in your area, at your Capitol building, in your state, and go to those rallies. There should be no sense in 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 people showing up. There should be thousands at those steps. That's how important this is. And then the other thing that you can do is contact your senators and congressmen. I don't care if they are liberals up there. I don't care who they are. It doesn't matter. You need to contact them anyway. You know, God bless you. You know, I piss my senators and congressmen off all the time. But you know, I'm probably preaching to the choir when I do. But pissed off congressmen and senators work harder. So, you know, they're troopers. They take it like a champ, but I give it to them, you know. And so what I'm going to do is there's a website I'm going to put a link to, so that all you have to do, if you're not into contacting them, all you have to do is just type in your zip code and it'll give you your representatives. It's a real simple thing. And once you put your zip code in, get a list of your representatives, then put their phone number in your phone, and you can call them. You know, put their email in your contacts, and you can email them. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I'm going to put all of the links to NRA, GOA, and the zip code finder for your representatives in the description. I hope that this was a, you know, tasteful video. You know, sometimes we are driven to do the things that we don't always want to do. God bless you guys. God bless the United States of America. And I'll see you guys in the next video.